Welcome to the series where I test out money-making methods from the OSRS Wiki. Feel free to leave suggestions on which moneymaker you'd like to see next. And also, if you didn't already know, I have a nice playlist that I've created that has all of the previous moneymakers that I've already tried, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's video, I thought we'd go ahead and revisit a comment from quite a while ago, and it was to kill regular Hydra. Now, I already have a video on killing the boss version of this, which is the alchemical Hydra. I'll leave a link for that in the description, along with probably a link towards the end. So if you want to check that out, feel free. Now, I think the reason why it took me so long to do this video is because when it was first recommended in the comments, I'm pretty sure I went to the wiki and checked to see if they had a guide on it, and there wasn't a guide. So I think this is a relatively new entry on the money making guide, and now that it's here, we can go ahead and try it out. Now, I know I've done videos in the past before where I don't necessarily need a guide, but every time I find it on the wiki, it's always easier for me because I know what to expect and I know what type of gear they were using or supplies. So with this one, I was able to see the supplies, not necessarily the gear, but I think I had a pretty good idea of what to bring. So as you can see here, I went for the best strength setup that I could go for. I am wearing full bandos along with primordial boots, the ferocious gloves, the berserker ring imbued, the dragon hunter lance, and the avernic defender, and of course the Hydras blessing with the fire cape. I'm also using my slayer helmet since I am on a slayer task for these Hydra, and of course the amulet of torture for that extra DPS. As for the inventory, I am bringing the divine super combat potions, antidotes, prayer potions, couple shark, my max cape for teleports, and the rune pouch, the herb sack, and the gem bag for picking up various items. And I'm also bringing my explorer's ring 4 since it does give me access to 30 free alks per day. And this was pretty much the setup that I used for the entire 1 hour. This was my first time here, so the setup might not be optimal, but it worked out for me. As for getting there, I will be using my Hydras Blessing 4, which you get for completing the Elite, Korand, and Kebos diary. And this blessing is very helpful because it gives us some nice prayer bonus, and we also get unlimited teleports to this area that brings us pretty close to where the Hydras will be. From here, you can just walk north or run north, climb over the rocks here, right next to the agility shortcut to the alchemical Hydra, and here you are. You can see them right there, just waiting to throw their acid at me. Another cool thing about having the Elite diary done is that we don't suffer from the burn effect here in this dungeon. If you don't have the Elite diary done, then you will need to be wearing boots of stone, boots of brimstone, or granite boots. Otherwise, you'll be taking damage from just stepping on this place. But since we have the diary done, we can wear whatever boots we want, which is why we went with the primordial boots. And like I said before, we do get unlimited teleports to this place, but if you don't have the Elite diary done, then you might have to find another way to get up here, since you only get 3 teleports per day if you have the hard diary done. So if you don't have the Elite, you'll most likely have to use the fairy ring way to get over here. Now, I've actually had a Hydra Slayer task for the longest time. It's been many months since I've done Slayer, and I think before this I also had another Hydra task, and I believe I was just doing alchemical Hydra because I'm still going after the Hydra Claw there. So after this video, I'll most likely use whatever kills I have left to go back to the alchemical Hydra and try grinding out for that Hydra Claw. But yeah, it was pretty cool to do a moneymaker that I had a Slayer task for, since we were able to use our Slayer helmet, which gives us accuracy bonuses and damage. And personally, I think it looks really cool. It's one of my favorite helmets in the game. This is the helmet that you get from the Twisted Horns from the Twisted League that took place not too long ago. Well, actually, now that I think about it, it was kind of a long time ago. I think it took place like in November of last year, so we're coming up on almost a year. So I'm not really sure when the next league is going to come out, and if it does come out, I'll most likely take part in it again, but I don't know if I'll be pushing as hard as possible, going for that dragon rank or whatever it was. I finished with rune last time and I was more than happy with that, considering that I got pretty burnt out when that game mode came out. It was pretty fun, but after a while it was just a lot of repetitive stuff, which is, I guess, what this game is all about. But we were restricted to one area of the game, which I guess made it easier to burn out. Now, as for the strategy for killing these little guys down here, it's not too complicated. Really, all you'll need is the ability to count to 3. They alternate between 3 range attacks and 3 mage attacks, and every now and then they'll spit out some poison that you want to avoid, because if you're standing right on top of it, you'll be taking constant damage. That's why I brought the antidote. The antidote actually lowers the amount of damage you take from stepping on those acid piles, so it's pretty nice to have. I have my quick prayer set to protect from mage and piety. The reason I choose mage over range is because in this setup I have a much lower magic defense bonus than I do with range, so I'm more likely to take damage from a magic attack than I am a ranged attack. I was also debating whether I should bury the bones or bank the bones. At first I was going to bury them like I did with the alchemical hydra, because with the alchemical hydra, in my opinion, it's all about lasting there as long as possible. So if you were to pick up all the bones, you would have to teleport after a couple kills, so I just end up burying them. But for here, the guide did show that the bones were part of the profit over the 1 hour, so I decided to bank after my inventory filled up with bones. So since I was holding onto the bones, bringing the ring for the 30 high alchs and all of the other bags to pick up herbs and runes also helped out on saving inventory space. You could also bring the seed box, since the hydras do tend to drop some seeds, but I currently don't have one because I have to go do tithe farm, and I'm not really a big fan of that. Kinda burnt out on that during the Twisted League. Now it is important to note that these hydras actually do drop the pieces of the brimstone ring, be it the hydra heart, the hydra fang, and the hydra eye. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of those, but it is pretty cool that they are on this drop table. If you're killing them off task, I do believe the pieces of the ring are 5 times rarer, so it might not be worth it to kill these guys off task. I was also pretty excited to do this moneymaker because recently they did add some more superior monsters. So for the hydra, they have a monster called the colossal hydra now, which is the superior variant. Now unfortunately we didn't see one of these, but if you do have bigger and badder unlocked from the Slayer Masters for 150 points, you could possibly see one of these while on a hydra task. So here we are with all of the loot from our 1 hour trip, and if we do a price check, it's just over 1 mil, along with 2 brimstone keys that we got since we were on a Slayer task from Konar. So because of that, we get access to a little bit more loot. We can head over here back to Mount Karum and open this chest twice to see what we get. Some gold ore and some uncut diamonds. And with those 2 stacks of items, the price check is now over 1.1 mil, so definitely not bad for 1 hour of killing some hydras. We can now go ahead and head over to the GE to sell off all of our loot. And as you see there, I do have an offer in for a T-bow for like 14 mil. I'm not actually trying to buy it, I was just putting my cash stack in there so that it wouldn't get mixed up with all of the cash from the high alchs during this 1 hour. But who knows, if a T-bow came through while I was killing the hydra for 1 hour, that would have been pretty sweet too. I put more of the expensive items in there for at least their actively traded price or slightly under it to get the most money possible. And as for the other items that aren't really worth as much, I just threw them in there for a lower amount so that I could sell them off quickly. But like I say, with all of these types of videos, definitely put them in there for market price or slightly over. Leave them in overnight, that way you can make a little bit extra profit from your hard work, especially if you're planning on doing this moneymaker for multiple hours at a time. And with those last items being sold, we can do one final price check to see how much we are left with, and it is 1,120,214 GP, so definitely not bad from 1 hour of hydras. We can now do the final calculation to see how much total profit we made from this 1 hour. So if we take the cost of supplies, which was 179,809 GP, from the total amount of money that we made, which was 1,120,214 GP, we get a grand total profit of 940,405 GP, so slightly under 1 mil. I'd say it's pretty decent for just counting to 3 for an hour, but some of the requirements are pretty high, so you might be better off doing some other moneymakers, but overall, this was fairly enjoyable. Here is also a look at the total XP that we got from the 1 hour. Now, it is slightly off because I did forget to reset the XP counter, so there is 1 Hispori kill mixed in there with the hydras that I killed as well. But other than that, it's fairly accurate. And here's a look at the entire loot tab from the 1 hour. 86 hydras killed and 2 brimstone chests opened up. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and possibly even a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next episode.